Live from San Francisco, it's Rex Broadcasting Wrestling Observer with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Let's get it on. Get it on.
Hey, Brian, I'm here.
Oh, my God, we've got Dave here.
Oh, my God, I just ran up a hill. Anyway.
We're going to start the show today.
I know, really. Well, at least we have a lot of news today.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin for the next 2 hours. And, Brian, why don't you, because I'm a little bit out of breath, why don't you start out for a second?
Well, obviously this was one of the strangest weeks in the years in wrestling, as the entire Steve Austin thing happened this past Monday on Raw. If you didn't check the internet or know what's going on, basically Steve Austin, before Raw began last week actually, walked out of the building unhappy with the plans for him that evening, were to face Brock Lesnar in the main event, and Steve Austin went home. And as a result, the WWF announced on their website that he was no longer an active member of the WWE roster. So Austin is basically without a job right now, although he has not been released. And it got even stranger last night, or actually, I guess 4 o'clock a.m., what would that be?
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning, the police were called to Steve Austin's house by Hibra, who claimed that she had been attacked by Steve Austin. And actually, as of right now, I do not know where Steve Austin is, because the police, I guess, asked him to come back to the house, and he decided he did not want to come back to the house. And so he's not been arrested. I don't think a warrant's out for his arrest or anything like that, but that is a situation, I guess, as it stands right now. And presumably today, the mainstream press is going to catch on to this story, and so you'll probably be hearing a lot about it tonight and tomorrow. So obviously the WWE in a very strange position right now.
And not to mention, last night on WWE Confidential, they spent probably half the show on the Steve Austin situation, and I mean, it was a burial.
It was a burial.
I mean, when you watch it, it was one of those things where, by watching it, you know that they don't have any plans to bring him back. And, you know, I had mixed feelings about it. I would say even, you know, obviously Austin is kind of self-destructed, but on the other hand, boy, they buried him hard, and they owe an awful lot of their success to him. I mean, if you think if there was no Steve Austin, had never come along 5 years ago, I shudder to think of what state this industry would be in. But anyway, on that note, we're going to go take a break. We've got a full bank of phone calls, and we'll be back right after this. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
Time for more Wrestling Observer Live. Email the show now or anytime at WOL@WrestlingObserver.com. That's WOL@WrestlingObserver.com. Now back to Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. And Brian, we've got a huge week coming up in professional wrestling. First of all, WWE tomorrow night on Raw has to figure out a way to reshuffle the deck. And they started reshuffling last Monday. Ric Flair back as a babyface. Ric Flair lost the company, his 50% to Vince McMahon. When Vince McMahon, that Stone Cold wasn't there, Vince McMahon panicked, and panicked bad. Basically throwing away all the booking that they built up. They felt they had nobody else as a babyface. They went with Ric Flair. And, you know, the funny thing about that, watching that show from Atlanta, and Atlanta, of course, is the city, one of the cities that they would figure Ric Flair would get the best babyface reaction, was that I watched it, and I didn't even know that Ric Flair was the babyface until after the show, when it was explained to me what was going on. I mean, I'm just going like, what did you just do? And it was like, well, this and this and this and this, and Ric Flair's the baby. Oh, Ric Flair's the babyface. I get it. Ric Flair's the babyface. Confused with Vince McMahon. I mean, I knew.
I got it when Jim Ross was talking about all these fans were cheering Vince or whatever, and Ross was like, oh, they're booing him or something.
Oh boy, yes. At the very beginning of the show, well, because Vince they didn't expect Vince there. He's a big star, and he walked out. Everybody was cheering him, and then they started talking about how they're booing. But then Vince did a babyface promo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Vince McMahon, and I'm gonna, they're gonna have to kill me to take my company away, and the whole bit, and which is probably what they're gonna have to do. And wow. And he buried his own company on the air.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I can kind of see in Vince's mind where he thought, this is not a bad thing. I'm not really burying my company. I'm burying Ric Flair for being the supposed owner of this company. But it still comes off on TV like Vince is telling all these people that watch Raw, they're idiots for watching this show because it sucks.
The show's been terrible. That's right, which is the one thing that you shouldn't be saying now.
And what's funny is like a year ago when Ric Flair, actually it was November, I guess, when Ric Flair first came in, and we're talking about, well, you know, the day will never come again when Flair's top guy. He needs to be used this way and that guy and everything like that. And Flair always ends up being the top guy.
Yeah, because they have no confidence in elevating guys. And that's one of the real problems of the business. You know, one thing that's scaring me is that instead of bringing in like a Steve Bradley or somebody like that from HWA, they're bringing in a Chris Nowinski. You know, I mean, it's the emblem. It's the thing of we have no confidence in our ability to get somebody over, so we're going to bring in a guy who's like totally not ready, but our fans know him because he was on Tough Enough, a heel on Tough Enough, and they're bringing all the the Tough Enough characters in. And I mean, how many? You know, Maven was a freak. You know, it's not going to happen again like that.
Yeah.
And
the worst thing they can do right now is have TV with bad wrestling on it, and that's what's always going to be.
Yeah.
The Tough Enough people, everyone knows them, and they're over in their own strange little way, but they can't work.
And they can't draw ratings on their own. I mean, like they can't on
well,
Tough.
Nobody can, but
yeah, you're right. Well, especially with Austin gone, and Austin is gone.
And you know what's funny watching Confidential last night, because before that aired, you know, we got emails from people saying, "Oh, this is all the work, blah blah blah."
Hey, we did after too.
Yeah, we did after, and that's what amazed me, because after watching that show, I cannot for the life of me see how anyone honestly believe, unless Jim Ross is like an Oscar caliber, the greatest actor who's ever walked this earth.
Jim Ross is good. Jim Ross is good.
He is good, but
he really is. He's good.
I don't think he's this good.
Well, I mean, not in that situation. You know, this coming Sunday, a week from tonight, is going to be King of the Ring, and officially we only know 2 matches. We know Hunter and Undertaker for the WWE title, and we know what's the other one that we know? Hulk Hogan and Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot.
Wig. Oh wait, he already took the wig off.
I guess.
Oh gosh.
Well, you know, and Hunter, I mean, Kurt Angle and Hogan's a really interesting match because Kurt Angle, I mean, now more than ever, Kurt Angle is so important to this company. Probably. He may be the most important guy to the company right now, Hunter. And
it's not Hunter.
Well, then it's him because he's the only. Okay, and if he is, I mean, he has to beat. I mean, I'm sure the original plan was for him to beat Hogan with Vince helping out and Vince causing the screw job and setting up Vince and Hogan. But right now, I don't think they can afford for Kurt Angle to look bad against Hogan.
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching the show, I'm sure he'll get a win somehow. The SmackDown show, just because. And in fact, when I was watching the Hogan promo, he's talking about, I'm going to go to King of the Ring and take your wig off. And I thought, wow, they actually put something on this pay-per-view that maybe people would want to pay for, to see Angle bald.
Yeah, but then they gave it away.
They take it off at the end of the show, and that killed that completely. But, you know, Angle and Hogan, I just don't think they're going to have, they can have a good match. I shouldn't say can, because it's Kurt Angle. But it's going to be really hard.
It's going to be the hardest, this is going to be the biggest test of Kurt Angle's career. And in another way, it's going to be a giant test for Hulk Hogan because unlike all of these other times where, you know, he was supposed to do what's best for the company and he kind of, you know, didn't, but he did, you know, he did what's best for Hogan. This one, there's no question what the right thing to do is, and that's to make Kurt Angle look as strong as possible by any means necessary and, you know, not the fake way, if you know what I mean. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Hogan does it. Now, Wednesday is the debut of the NWA TNA promotion, which we've talked about on the show many times, from Huntsville, Alabama, on pay-per-view. From 8 to 10 Eastern, 5 to 7 Pacific. There'll be a replay, and at least on DirecTV, I know there's a replay. They're going to do a Gauntlet for the Gold, which is going to be with 20 people, which is the main event to declare the new NWA champion. And then there's going to be Tio the Midget against Hollywood, the Dupps against Christian York and Joey Matthews, and Sonny Siaki, Jorge Estrada, and Jimmy Yang against Jerry Lynn, AJ Styles, and Low-Ki. And the second show, which will also be taped that night, will be cruiserweight, 4-man cruiserweight tournament, which will be Low-Ki, AJ Styles, Jerry Lynn, and Psychosis, and a women's battle royal to declare the TNA champion. And I should say it's not a cruiserweight championship; it's the X championship. I want to make that clear. So it's not weight specific as much as kind of like a high flying championship. And then after,
so if Vic Grimes wants to jump out a scaffold, he could fight for the X title.
Yes, he could if they bring him in. And after that, they're going to go weekly from the Nashville Municipal Auditorium every Wednesday night starting July 3rd. So that's their battle plan. And I don't know what else to say about that thing. Let's see, Ric Flair's face. Last Sunday, we had Don Frye on the show talking about the Pride. Pride is also this Sunday. And his opponent is going to be Yoshihiro Takayama, which means that Yoshihiro Takayama will be taking a lot of punches to the face, as he does in every fight that he's in.
Well, he does have 10 days to train.
He was looking
significantly less than that now, but he had 10.
Was that how many he had when they announced the match? They just announced a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. They had Tough Enough reunion on Thursday. Did you see that, Ryan?
Why, yes, I did.
And what were your thoughts?
Just amused how at the very beginning of the show they just started to cause trouble and, tried to get the controversy on there. And they did a good job, and everybody hated Alicia, and everybody hated Daryl. And that was like that was the show right there, just squabbling back and forth. And they showed a couple of things that they never showed on the original show. And I was actually surprised that there was more under the sheets controversy than we ever knew about. And after watching the Hot Tub episode, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't show a lot of that stuff, because that was the highest rating that they did this season.
I know. And remember...
They'll learn for next season, though. Don't worry.
Yes, they will. But and they had tryouts this week. I think they had 3 sets of tryouts, and they're narrowing it down. They didn't bring any slugs in. I mean, it was like somebody made this is secondhand info that it looked like Muscle Mag International. Is that the name of the magazine, Muscle Mag International, Brian?
Yeah, Muscle Mag.
That's what it looked like, Muscle Mag International at the tryouts.
Wow.
Yes.
What's funny is someone from our group got called out there, Jimbo.
Really?
I just found that out yesterday.
Wow.
I was pretty impressed by that.
Yeah. And
he does not look like he's from Muscle Mag International, unfortunately.
Really?
But he's tall.
Now, remember when Pete got cut? You and I, sometimes, actually often enough that it's scary, Brian and I think alike and email each other like the same thing within minutes. And after that thing, we both came to the same conclusion of what's going to happen to Pete. And there he was, 20 pounds heavier.
It's amazing.
It was amazing.
Oh, God,
wow.
show.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Rock wrestled last night for the first time in a long time in Honolulu. He was telling the guys at the show, in fact, he actually broke down and cried at the show, at the end of the show, talking about his grandfather who promoted wrestling in Hawaii, the late Peter Maivia. And he had all of his high school friends there, and he was dressed in Hawaiian garb, and he told the guys backstage that this was the biggest night of his career. This was bigger than any of the WrestleManias. It was bigger than going to Japan, bigger than any match he ever had. And Bruce Willis was there, too, by the way. And Bruce Willis popped Chris Jericho, who was Rock's opponent, and they had a sellout, which is a word that they're not hearing very much of these days in WWE and won't be hearing that much of at least through the summer.
And Rock and Newbie, too. I don't even want to try and say...
King Kamehameha.
Okay, thank you.
King Kamehameha was a very, very famous Hawaiian icon, and he's going to do the life of King Kamehameha. Anyway, let's see what else. That is, I think that we are going to go head to a break right now, and we're going to come back. We've got a full bank of phone calls. We're going to start talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, the life of Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was, over a 5-year period, drew more revenue than any wrestler who ever lived. And that 5-year run as the biggest... It's over. And what does that mean for World Wrestling Entertainment without Steve Austin? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? They have to rebuild anyway, so I don't know if it would have been a lot worse if it was 4 years ago when all this happened, I'd say that. Anyway, we'll be back with all that right after this. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
Back with Wrestling Observer Live. Give us a call anywhere in the U.S. toll-free at 1-866-OBSERVER. That's 1-866-627-3783. Once again, here's Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Okay, welcome back to the show. I'm Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. And you can call us at 1-866-OBSERVER as soon as someone hangs up a call, because every line is done, and we're going to get to the phone calls in just 1 second. I want to remind everyone, coming up next after this show in about an hour and 35 minutes is going to be Patro's video game show, and he's going to talk about wrestling video games as well as soccer video games. So that's cool. And also, if you're interested in any info on either the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which I do every week, or Figure 4 Weekly, which Brian does every week, you can go to WrestlingObserver.com, and there's information on how to order both. And believe me, next week's issues are going to be, there's so much news going on over the next 2 weeks between everything that's going on this coming Sunday and Saturday and Wednesday, and what's going to happen tomorrow, and more on Steve Austin. And it is not a slow period when it comes to wrestling, and we haven't even talked about steroids, which I'm sure is going to big buzz for Brian. You know, Brian, did you see the column by Sean Assail this week in ESPN?
Yes, I did, actually.
You know, I...
New one about all the feedback?
The feedback. Because it reminded me of the stuff that you've been getting.
Yes, it was identical, actually.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't have the same people writing me.
Yeah. Well, you know, the one thing... steroids are such a complicated issue because you've got two sides, okay, and one side is just like steroids are going to kill you, which isn't a total overreaction. You get the other side that's like nobody can really ever die from steroids. Even when like a coroner says that they died, the coroner is lying because nobody can die from steroids. And even though the rate of death of heavy steroid users, and I'm sure I'm going to get killed for this one, is, at least as far as powerlifting goes, as far as professional wrestling goes, is so much ridiculously higher than anything else that, there's some cause and effect of this. And I tell you the one thing that really, in the Sean Sale thing that got me really mad, it's Dr. Mauro DePasquale, because Dr. Mauro DePasquale knows more about steroids than just about anyone there is. And he was talking about Davey Boy Smith, and he just goes, you don't understand Davey Boy Smith's lifestyle. I knew him. And, in fact, he knew him. In fact, they were very tight when Davey Boy was in the World Wrestling Federation. And, Davey Boy, he ate a lot of restaurant food, and he ate a lot of fast food. And he may have had bad genetics. But you know what? Davey Boy Smith's death was not due to eating at McDonald's, okay? It was not. And I don't want to hear that's a bunch of crap.
And Dynamite's heart was not enlarged from riding the Stairmaster.
And Davey Boy Smith, I'm not saying that Davey Boy Smith died of steroids. I do not know that. The coroner said that, okay? I do not dismiss it. I do not take it as 100%. He may have died of other drugs. But, as I said, I don't think that any intelligent person should dismiss a fact that a guy did steroids and growth hormone in massive doses for all of those years and died of a heart attack and said that and anyone who says that there is 0% chance that was a contributing cause of his death is in complete denial. So anyway, do you agree with me or disagree with me?
I would agree with you there. I was just shocked because there were so many people it was either black and white for them. It was either they're going to kill you or they will absolutely kill anybody. And to me, it's like, how can you say that about anything?
Yeah. Well, on our website, Ben Miller had a piece and he interviewed Gary Wadler, and this was on the other end, and he said that there's a 50% mortality rate if you're using growth hormone by the age of 50, and that's ridiculous too. I mean, we've known enough people that have used growth hormone in this business, and I don't expect half of them will die by the age of 50.
Yeah.
Well,
plus, how do you really know, who's been doing growth hormone for so long?
Well, you have to know how many years.
Yeah, plus, 15 or 20 years ago, they were taking it out of cadavers, and you really could die by having your growth hormone coming out of a cadaver instead of having it made like it is today. So, it's something totally different. It's like the thing with tanning. You read all these things about how tanning is going to kill you. Studies of tanning beds from the 70s, which probably would kill you.
Well,
I'm not to say it's completely safe or anything like that, but same type of deal.
But also in the Assail column, they were talking about how those guys who used steroids in the 70s, they might have a lot of health problems, but the steroids that are used now are so much safer. And and again, I am not familiar 100% with I was very, very familiar in the early 90s what everybody was doing, and I'm familiar, I'm not familiar with what the bodybuilders are doing as much now because I don't read bodybuilding magazines and I just don't have time for it. But I am familiar with what the wrestlers are doing, and what the wrestlers that I have talked with are doing when it comes to steroids, with the exception of using growth hormone and insulin, which can't be good for you. They are the same steroids that they were doing when Billy Graham was doing steroids, which are Test and Decadurabolin.
Yeah.
For the most part, obviously there are going to be exceptions. So to say they've switched to these, they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've beaten that subject. We're going to go to Dan in Chicago. Dan, what's going on?
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're doing really good.
Busy day today, huh?
Very busy.
I got a couple ideas, theories about this whole Stone Cold, situation.
Yes.
I personally think this goes back to the whole Bret Hart thing. It's kind of funny that.
It's funny you should say that. I do too.
Because Vince McMahon was saying how Stone Cold was his buddy. Well, wasn't Bret Hart his buddy too? I think they forced him out personally.
No, they didn't force him out. No, you're dead wrong on that one.
They would be foolish to do that right.
Yeah, no, they absolutely didn't force him out. What happened? Stone Cold self-destructed. The pressure got to him. I mean, that's the reality of it. I didn't like the way they buried him on TV, but
that's why I thought that they were forcing him out because he was going to do a job for Lesnar, supposedly.
They felt that they needed to make Lesnar. Well, okay. Now here's the thing. Him doing a job for Lesnar. Okay, if Austin is paranoid, which from all accounts he is, he played over doing the job for Lesnar, and I don't see where the Bret Hart thing comes in is Steve Austin was there when the thing happened to Bret Hart. And he knows it very well. And even though he probably publicly said, well, that's what happens at the end. He may very well have been thinking this makes no sense, because it did make no sense. And that's what they got planned for me. They're doing something, they're going to double-cross me. I'm going home. I can't trust these people. I think he was thinking that. Now, whether they were really going to do that, that's an entirely different issue. But that's where the Bret Hart connection, that's why I think that there is something to that in his mind.
Right.
Maybe not in their mind. Probably, and I would say not in their mind, because this is not the time they would want to get rid of him.
Now, what's this whole thing with Deborah? I mean, I read on One Wrestling, and I was reading on your website, they said that they had come to the house before.
No, police never come to the house before.
Well, I heard that there was some kind of abuse before.
She said that she had said when the police came to her on Friday or Saturday morning at 4 a.m. that it had happened before, but she'd never called the police because, she knew how much publicity it would get, because he was so famous.
It's already gotten it.
Well, now, that's why. Well, she did this time. This is the first time. But that's why she'd never done it before, because she knew what would happen.
Why? Did you ever hear about this before, you guys?
No, absolutely not.
This is kind of odd, then, huh?
It's
happening right after right after Confidential. That happened. You probably got really ticked.
No, it actually happened before Confidential.
Oh, it happened before Confidential.
It was at 4 a.m. the day before, or the morning of Confidential, actually.
Feel bad, man. I hope he gets his life in order.
So do I.
And do you think he'll ever end up anywhere, or no?
I think he will. Yeah, he's Steve Austin, and there's hey, look, Scott Hall's in NWA TNA, and look at his track record.
Yeah, but I don't think anytime soon. They're not stupid enough to let him go.
No. They're not going to release him to go there because up in a heartbeat. If they could. Although I don't think they have enough money for him either.
Oh, yeah. My other question is, wouldn't you release him now? This is why people are saying.
Actually, because of this thing, they may be forced to release him. They may. I'd say before this thing, there was no chance they would release him.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What are you guys gonna have archived for your show?
I have no idea. You have to call Sports Byline and check with them.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay.
One thing about the Vince interview last night was it reminded me so much of that Brett screwed Brett thing, but Vince didn't seem so angry. He just seemed beaten. You know what I mean?
Oh, and Jim Ross.
So tired and like, oh, God, what's next?
And Jim Ross, it was an incredible performance by Jim Ross. But, when that thing was over, man, I was sad.
Yeah.
I was sad. I was sad as a wrestling fan because it was like this era is over. And, they really had no choice when he walked out. There's two sides to the story, and there's a lot more to the story that they didn't say. There were things that kind of bothered me, like when they said, like how he let down the fans and they really played that music and everything like that. And I'm thinking, like,
how many times have guys no-showed and,
How many times have guys no-showed? And how many times have they flagrantly false advertised? If they're so concerned with the fans, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's one of those confidential things. They have to have something like that every week or it wouldn't be confidential.
Yeah, I know. I know. Anyway, let's go to Ed in San Antonio. Ed, what's going on?
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Hey.
To Austin, I wanted to ask, what did you guys think of the Lucha yesterday? I thought it was a pretty kick-ass 2 matches that they showed.
Oh, it sure was. Did you see Brian?
Yeah, the EMLL was great. I didn't watch AAA.
Neither did I.
I think of the same matches they've been showing all month.
No.
Last week I wasn't even going to try.
Oh, no, I was watching the match with the Japan against Mexico match, and I'm just like, oh, God, not again. It's like...
You know what I loved about that match, by the way, was it was Japan versus Mexico. It was their big blow-off hair match. And I was just thinking how WWF would have done it, kind of like they did at the end with WCW. But EMLL put the Japanese guys over so damn strong until their dying breath, they finally beat them. And I just thought, that's how you do it. You make it look like you've actually beaten somebody instead of just stomping. WWF, they do that. They have nothing more for the future. But now these guys can come back and start this all over again because they were so strong until the very end.
But, here's the other thing. The two guys in that match that drew that house, okay, were Katsushi Takamura, who was like an opening match guy in New Japan, and Mazada, who was an opening match guy in EMLL like 2 months ago. So all of that talk...
What would that be like in America for the WCW invasion?
It'd be a lot worse than
Crash
Booker...
Holly.
It'd be like worse than Booker T and Page, I'll tell you that. You're right, it would be like Crash Holly.
Crash Holly and maybe Shannon Moore?
A little bit better than that. Maybe...
Ike?
Maybe
Noble?
Jamie Noble, Bob, maybe, I couldn't say Bob Holly. Wouldn't be that.
Yep, and they came in and they tore the house down and drew money, and it worked.
Yeah, and that tag match, Santo was just tremendous in that tag match.
Yeah,
and Ultimo Guerrero, those are two of the best workers in the business. We're going to head to a break right now. We're going to get some more phone calls.
I wanted to bring up a really good point.
Ed, why don't you hold on, and we'll get to you right after this. Okay, you're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
time for more Wrestling Observer Live. Email the show now or anytime at WOL@WrestlingObserver.com. That's WOL@WrestlingObserver.com. Now, back to Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. We're here for 2 hours every Sunday night here on Sports Byline, U.S. on Sports Byline Radio Network, as well as our Rex Broadcasting affiliates. Also want to remind everyone, my impression for tomorrow night on Raw, one of the things that they're going to do is try to set up a Ric Flair-Eddie Guerrero match. So that's something to look forward to. Well, they have to. I mean, this pay-per-view's had the heart ripped out of it. I'll tell you, and Brian, I think that you probably are well aware of this, but the attitude among the wrestlers in the WWF towards Steve Austin, even before what happened the other day, was really negative. But what happened as the guys were starting to find out, boy, it was just like, oh my God, this bad publicity. Here's a question. This is theoretical. If this is going to get some publicity, what does the WWF declare a moratorium on man-on-woman violence?
They should have a long time ago anyway.
Yeah, so do I. I'm just wondering, do you think they will?
I think I don't know, because it almost depends on if they make mention of it on their website or anything like that.
They will not make mention of. Well, I can't say anything. They may make mention of it because they may want to bury him.
Yeah, it's too hard for me to think about what WWE is going to do this logical these days. So
because it's Vince's decision, and no one has Vince's brain. That's for sure. Especially not now. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go back to Ed. Ed, what's up?
Thanks for keeping me on the line. The point I wanted to bring up, my idea of why Austin is having this breakdown at this time of his career is, and no one has mentioned this, is the man consumes a lot of alcohol in a very short amount of time.
Yes, he does.
We're doing it for years. Every show, I'm sure he does it on his time off. Plus the fact that he could be on painkillers. He's had so many injuries.
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
I think, this is what's the main cause. What could have been causing this breakdown.
There's a lot of things. I'll tell you what, I have seen this in other wrestlers in similar situations when they were on top for a long time. And not only just wrestlers. I saw it with Eric Bischoff, and I saw it with Vince McMahon as well this year, where you've been on top and you just think that, man, it's like, I'm it. You know what I mean? I'm it. Nobody can take me down. And the bottom line is everyone gets taken down at some point in their lives. And I think that fear of losing it, especially when you're a baby face. I mean, I noticed with heels they don't have it as much, but with a top baby face, and look back at your WWF history, and wrestling history, you're going to see it in a lot of guys. And I'll tell you what, with Ric Flair, one of the reasons why Ric Flair always wanted to turn heel was because there was a self-confidence issue. When you're a heel and you go out there and half the people cheer you and the other half boo you, but you're getting, you can always, insult them and all that and get that reaction, right? When you're a baby face and they're kind of quiet, you start questioning yourself. It's much easier mentally on some of these guys to play heel. And I think Austin was a lot, I don't want to say he was happier being a heel last year, but he wasn't as against it as he probably should have been until he saw, what happened to his merchandise. And then it was like, okay, I got to turn, and plus the whole business, that turning him heel last year was a bad idea. But there's a lot of things that there's a lot of factors, I'm sure,
Wait till you see his merchandise numbers now.
That's gonna be it. What's weird? Okay, and again, you cannot predict the fan base and what they're going to do. Now, he's not going to be there, so I guess it's really immaterial. But, if this was ECW, he'd be more over. You know that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So.
And so far, aside from that one news bit, there hasn't been hardly any talk of it since. And do you think that it will hit the main media, or do you think that they'll be able to hush it up and keep it quiet? Because
I think it will take. I'm really surprised that it was only on.
It wasn't in the papers. It wasn't on any of the other news. I mean, I didn't see the news tonight, but as far as the paper and afternoon and.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be in the. I think it'll be in your paper tomorrow. I think there's a pretty good shot. I don't know that though. I think that everybody.
It wasn't everywhere last night because when I first, someone emailed me at 10:15 and said, at the 10 o'clock news they discussed this and. Initially I thought, hold on a second, this is not real. And I went up to the website and everything like that, and I looked around for it, and there was nothing there. And, initially it was like, how can this be? This should be everywhere. And so I'm really surprised that today it's not everywhere.
You think maybe Vince pulled a Fritz and hushed it up like they did in the...
No, because he couldn't have. Because if he did, we already know it. I mean, it would have had to have done it before any of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I meant for, the main media, not for, the...
He doesn't have that power. Hey, you know, once we had it, it's like, what, the main media is not going to be, you know, can't get a story that's already, you know, that we have on our website? Come on. You know, that it's already broken in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're trying to sort it out. And it's the same thing. I'll tell you what, same thing with me last night. It was like I knew what was reported. I knew that it was, you know what I'm saying? But it was so hazy. I was like, you know, how do you handle it without a police report in your hand?
Yeah.
You know?
Have you read the police report or?
I had it read to me. I don't have it in my hand. But I had the whole police report read to me.
Specifics that wasn't reported earlier?
Nothing, you know, that's not on our website. You know, pretty much all the specifics of the police report are already up.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Okay, you're very welcome. Let's go to Matt in Boston. Matt, what's going on?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Brian.
Hey.
I want to talk about, really quick, the WWF Hawaii show.
Yes.
Muto, Tenryu, and, you know, the rest of them said they were going to be there. You know if anything happened with that? Or?
I don't know if Muto was there, but I know that Tenryu was there for sure. And, I mean, they were there. Tenryu met with Johnny Ace. I don't know what they talked. You know, I'm sure they talked business. I'm sure they got a zillion photos, you know, to take back and create whatever story they want to create that may or may not be true.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you know Ricky Joshi, you know, he's gone and everything. You keep saying he's going to possibly take people. Tanahashi Suzuki as top two guys. Do you actually see this is happening? You've been around, you know, forever, really. And
yeah. I mean, I don't know who. I mean, I could see certainly, what's his name, Maccabi.
His main guys, you know, Sasaki, Nakanishi, Yoshi, Shiro, Suzuki.
I don't think he wants the older guys. I mean, you know, Sasaki, I don't know. Sasaki's in a good position right now with New Japan, as weak as they are.
Well, now he is, but he really kind of hasn't been. Just kind of lingering after Nagata got his title and took his spot, really.
Yeah. But I expect he'll take some guys, and I don't know if it'll be a 0-1 or All Japan where he winds up, but I would think one or the other.
I think it's possibly a work between, you know, Inoki and him working. Because isn't 0-1 New Japan?
No, they're not. But but Inoki has ties to both of them. As far as it's possible, yes, but I really don't think so.
All right.
Yeah.
With the G1 Climax, you know, the main top people who could possibly win it or, you know, be involved in semifinals, finals, Nagata, Chono, Takayama, Sasaki, Kenta, and Nakanishi, and, you know, to a lesser extent, Nishimura. What do you think will be in the semifinals?
Yoshie.
No, please. I mean, I think that Nagata's got to make the Final Four for sure because he's the champ. Sasaki probably. I would hope Tenzan, and then maybe Chono or Taki. I think maybe Takayama just so they have a little flavor.
I'd like to see Tenzan over Chono or Nagata in the finals. Who knows?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, very welcome. Let's go to Jason in Brooklyn. Jason, what's going on?
What's up, guys? Listen, first time caller to your show, long time reader of your websites.
Oh, thank you.
Someone stole my thunder regarding the Austin and alcohol abuse, so I want to play a different tack here. Let's say you're Vince McMahon and you're smarter than he's been acting recently.
Okay.
Who do you elevate and why?
I think that you've got to elevate young guys. Lesnar, obviously, I don't think there's any doubt that they are going to elevate Angle. They're really going to go all the way with Angle. They have no choice. And they had better, Brian, they had better convince him not to go to the Olympics.
You know what I was thinking today would be the best thing that they could do is belt on him. You know, so he can work both shows. You got good matches on both shows. You got an entertaining guy on both shows, as long as he doesn't wear that wig. He's not a geek. And
I think that's a safe bet.
Match between the two of them.
You also talked about the attitude of the wrestlers being a little bit, shall we say, peeved at Austin. Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, is supposedly the locker room leader. What have you been hearing about his reaction to Austin?
I actually haven't heard his reaction. But I would think that he feels let down because, you know, one of the things, they're in a tough situation, you know, and they need, like, all hands on deck right now, if you know what I mean. And then, like, the guy, the main guy, you know, went home. And, you know, if he was having problems, I think, and obviously they might understand it and might sympathize with something to a degree. If he said, I got to check out and get help, I think that if he had said, I just got to go home and, you know, gave them a couple of weeks' notice, but to walk out on a live shoot, and then they overreacted by changing all their angles and everything like that. I mean,
and basically bury him last night, big time.
Yeah, they buried him more than I wish they had. You know, I mean, I'll tell you the one thing that really, I guess.
You know, I got to say one thing though. Vince had such a great. I mean, I actually agreed with him when he was talking about Austin not being welcome back, and he said, okay, this guy was unhappy and he went home, and we brought him back, and then he got happy and he went home again. And what is the point of me back and building something around him when he can just decide he wants to go home again and screw everything up?
You know what the most ironic thing is that the guy who is the biggest guy, supposedly, in the locker room politics, Hogan, is supposedly behaving himself the best.
Well, but Hogan's the best player. Austin has never been accused of being a great player. He was just a great drawing card. Hulk Hogan's like the best player, what, Brian, maybe ever?
I would say so. He's way up there.
Him or Nash. I mean, Nash may be better because Hogan at least always drew money, or not always, but usually. Nash never did and still was a big player. But, Hogan's not going to make an idiot of himself in the locker room. He's too good.
Especially now.
Yeah, especially now at the tail end of his career. And he's concerned of his legacy. I think he wants to go out with people, not saying, Hulk Hogan drew a lot of money, but what a jerk. You know what I mean?
I got to read this thing real quick, by the way. It's the KMOL website just put up a story on Steve Austin.
Okay. Go for it. I want to hear.
World Wrestling Entertainment speaks out on wrestler Stone Cold Steve Austin's alleged attack on his wife. So they're teasing that WWE gave a statement. Well, here's a statement. Tell me if this sounds familiar. He took himself out of the game.
Oh, is it just
Vince McMahon didn't. JR didn't. Steve Williams took Stone Cold and flew him to San Antonio.
Oh, that's so cheesy.
And then there's a comment from Vince McMahon saying, "This is not a publicity stunt. This is something that unfortunately is sad."
Boy, isn't that stick integrity for you?
Oh God, that's really sad.
Yeah, I knew I did the story, by the way. Nothing.
Okay.
Lovely, but do you think that? How bad does this? Is this permanent damage? Is this continuing to go down that slippery slope? How bad does this affect the WWE?
There's no such thing as permanent in a business that can change. If they come and do some really great stuff, it'll blow its, it'll, you know what I mean? I thought that the Bret Hart thing was going to hurt him, and it ended up helping him. You don't know how to read it. It ain't going to help him short run though. But permanent, it depends on if they have a whole bunch of good TV shows. Then they'll be okay. If they have a whole bunch of bad TV shows, they'll be bad, and that would have happened if Austin was still there, and none of this would happen.
Does the brand extension stay or go?
They're saying stay, but I think it's got to change because it makes no sense to have brand extension when you got the same guy running both companies. We'll talk more about that after this because we got to head to a break right now. We're listening to the Wrestling Observer live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
John McCarthy of the UFC, and you're listening to the Wrestling Observer with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. Brian, the brand extension. To me, watching Raw on Monday night, I was going they have just blown the brand extension. Last night, they had Hunter working in San Diego on the Raw show, which I don't blame them for because it's they needed a suitable replacement for Austin. And Hunter wasn't booked in Hawaii because Rock was booked in Hawaii. He had the night off. So it made sense, even though, technically, in their storyline, it makes no sense. Now they have, quote, one man owning both groups. I know an idea that was batted around during the week. I don't know if they're going to do it tomorrow night or not. We'll see. Because I think that whatever they're going to do, they're going to explain tomorrow night, is that Vince will be the owner, the full 100% owner of WWE, and he will assign two people, one to run Raw.
Oh, God.
And one to run SmackDown. And
he'll be like God.
He will be like God. And the owners will be... Now, okay, think about this. Who do you think they're going to be?
Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, right. Shane Stephanie. Okay, anyway.
No, come on.
No, I don't know that. That was just my speculation. Anyway, we're going to go to Jonathan in Savannah. Jonathan, Savannah, Georgia. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing really good.
I wanted to ask you...
State owner, by the way.
I was at Raw up in Atlanta, and one of my questions that I want to ask you was about them allowing Shawn Michaels to kind of, I guess it wasn't really a shoot, it's probably pre-planned, about dropping Rock's name when he was out there cutting that promo.
That was all scripted.
It was all scripted?
The deal is this is where they've lost their mind. They wanted people on the internet going oh my God, Shawn shot on his interview.
Right.
And they scripted it. That's going to be his gimmick, is that he's going to say silly things like that.
Okay.
So only the internet people will get it, and only the internet people will know that it's not really a shoot. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, John? Okay, we're going to go ahead to our hourly break. We're going to be back in about 6 minutes, and we got a full bank of phone calls. You can join us. On the other end of the hour, you're listening to the Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of the Wrestling Observer with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Let's get it on!
Welcome to the second hour of Wrestling Observer Live. I'm Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly, and we are good with phone. Right now, we're going to go to Matt in Vancouver. Matt, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really good.
Okay, it's about this Austin beat up his wife and everything like that.
Yes.
Is this a work?
No, it's not a work.
So he really beat the hell out of her.
He didn't beat her up that bad. She did not need medical attention, but she had a welt under her eye and she had some bruises.
She did have a lot of bruises.
She had some bruises, yeah.
Why would they do that work?
What?
Did he give her the stunner?
No, he didn't give her the stunner.
But she's fine.
I don't know that she's fine.
There's been like stuff on the internet saying that Vince McMahon had stuff to do with this.
Vince McMahon had nothing to do with this.
So he just had a couple beers.
I don't know that.
Well, he's been known to be a drunk though.
I mean, there's no question he drinks 24 beers every night after his matches in the ring, and he drinks. Yeah. I mean, but I don't know if there's anything to drink in. I don't know that it doesn't.
And it's a normal redneck thing, don't you think though? For him to do this, is it because he lost his job, or is he going insane?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Steve Austin.
He has some problems right now.
I think Steve Austin has some.
What's his problem? He has he doesn't really need to have any problems except for he's taking it all out on Deborah, which he should be taking it out on Vince. Brett would never do this to his wife because he punched Vince out in Montreal.
Maybe he should have punched a wall when in Atlanta.
Or JR. JR is just as bad as Vince. They should both get a beat down.
Okay, let's go to Chris. Chris, what's going on?
Hey guys, happy Father's Day.
Hey, thank you. My first Father's Day, by the way.
Happy Father's Day, Dave.
Yeah, boy, what a Father's Day. Wake up.
News station.
What?
Call Texas.
I know, really. Yeah, what a morning.
Well, I'll tell you, this sort of, I guess my question has something to do with the last call. I don't think Vince is working this, but do you think it's possible that Austin and Deborah are putting this on so that Vince will have no choice but to fire him and set him free so he can go work for someone else? Who? I don't know.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Who could he work for that would pay him even close to what he was making at WWF?
Do the Jarretts have that kind of money?
No, not $2 million a year or whatever it would take to get him as just as a downside. Plus, he wouldn't want to go there. Why would he want to go from WWE to the Jarretts? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess being a wrestling fan for years as I have, and maybe he started conspiracy theories, truth or lies. And
I don't think you get the police involved. You know what the penalties for filing a false police report are?
Yeah, I had thought about that too.
Yeah. So anyway, we got to head to a break right now, okay, Chris?
All right.
Okay, we will be back with more. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
We're back with Wrestling Observer Live. Give us a call anywhere in the U.S. toll-free at 1-866-OBSERVER, 6627-3783. Once again, here's Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Okay, welcome back to the show. I'm Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. We got a full bank of phone calls, and we do have one phone call listed that is not wanting to talk about Steve Austin, but everyone else is, and we're going to go first to Carlo in West Haven, Connecticut. Carlo, what's going on?
How you doing, Dave?
Doing really good.
This may seem like a silly question right now, but based on what you know, do you think like anytime in the near future this year we'll see Steve Austin on TV again?
No time in the near future. And I would never say never, because I actually believe that there will come a day where we will see him on, because we saw Hulk Hogan on. But it is not going to be anytime soon.
Even Vince last night was like, I don't like to say never.
But boy, he said never. But you know what? He said never about Hogan, though.
Yeah. Do you think they would let him back in the dressing room, given what the news today?
Now would not be a good time.
It would not. Yeah, now would not be a good time. But you know, they let Hall and Nash. I mean, look, Hall's track record was far worse than this. Far worse. So you know why would and Hall never had the drawing capabilities of Steve Austin. So to say that they never will, I don't buy it.
Yeah, but everybody knew Austin and everybody knew Deborah, and this is different than, you know.
Yeah, but I mean,
Scott Hall and some grandma in a parking lot.
Okay, but just an example in I don't remember what year this was, but Chris Adams was the exact same story in Dallas with Chris Adams, and this when Chris was working for the Dallas promotion, one of the top baby faces at the time, and they were really scared going to the sports room on a Friday because it was in all the Dallas news that Chris Adams had beaten his wife Tony, and Tony was also a character on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going, oh my God, everyone's going to boom. And they came out, and everybody cheered him, and nobody.
Yeah, I'm talking more about the guys backstage, though. I'm not talking about.
Oh, they're not going to be happy. But 2 years from now, I mean, if business is bad, I mean, I think that most of them deep down like him. I think right now they probably don't, but I mean, do you think they really dislike him more than they dislike the idea of Scott Hall coming in? Steve Austin didn't kill a company.
Yeah.
And didn't show up, in no condition to work, and how many airplanes? On the airplane, I mean, Steve Austin was one of the guys who, didn't do anything wrong, if you think about it.
Yeah.
On that last trip. So, no, I mean, but it's not going to happen soon.
What about the XWF? What's going on with that right now?
They are saying that on Friday they will make an announcement.
Oh, it's this Friday now?
They say that every Monday. It's going to be Friday. They're talking about, a TV deal. I mean, they only got 5 shows.
Yeah, but when they talk about a TV deal, and their TV deal is we're going to pay
to get on
for
TV
these shows on the air, and that's the same as saying we're going to make an announcement about syndicating our shows and paying for it. What's the point? Everyone who's tried to syndicate has died.
Yeah, and they'll you pay for your TV. If you don't have the network behind you and want you, it ain't going to work today.
Yeah, I mean, you pay for it one time, and they will never pay you.
They will never, yeah, and they'll always look at you like you're paid programming, and that's you can't make it as paid programming in wrestling right now.
And the other thing was, I was just curious about this based on something I read by Irving Munchnick, the son of Sam Munchnick.
He's his nephew. It's not a son.
Yeah, it was something I saw on the internet recently that was written by him. Is it true the story about why Brooklyn Brawler, why Steve Lombardi ever got his push, and why he's still working now because of his relationship with one of the bookers?
That's always been alleged. It's possibly true. I mean, that certainly was a big rumor, 10 years ago. You don't hear anything about it.
Okay.
But, I mean, he's still working there. I saw him on Confidential.
Yeah,
he's on Confidential every week, and I'll bet you all these people are going like, why is Steve Lombardi always on Confidential? What's the deal? Him and Harvey Whippleman, what's the deal?
Yeah, I wondered that myself. I've wondered that many times.
Yeah, Harvey Whippleman. I mean, my God.
That is a weird one there.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, Harvey Whippleman was always, kissing up to Sid, but, Sid's not around, and he's still there. So, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to go to Alan in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Alan, what's happening?
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Going really good.
All right. I heard about Austin being arrested for domestic violence.
He was not arrested unless it's happened in the last, 2 hours.
Okay.
But the police came over.
Last 2 minutes.
Okay. but the police came over his house and he wasn't there.
Okay. And as far as the situation with him and Vince, I mean, is this pretty much a shoot or what?
It's a shoot. I mean, it's a total shoot. Yes.
Really?
Oh, yes.
No possibility of it being an angle at this point?
Not at this point, no. No.
And, I heard rumors years ago about Randy Savage and, Elizabeth.
Yeah, what about him?
He had abused her. So, and he was a babyface at the time?
I know they had a divorce. Randy Savage was real jealous. I don't know the whole gist of their relationship, but I know that he would be if he was going to go out and she wasn't there, he would have her in a dressing room. He didn't want any of the boys near her, and when any of the boys talked to her, he flew off the handle. He was I remember, I think it was in Fresno, but it was, it was out here, like a fan touched her or something, and he went crazy on the fan. I mean, if he was, a preliminary guy, he'd have been fired for that one.
Right. But, I mean, there was rumors of spousal abuse. I mean, I can't confirm it, but...
I've heard a million rumors, but I can't confirm that. I don't know.
I mean, and they had him as a babyface. So I'm saying, if they brought Austin back and tried to babyface him, I mean, it wouldn't work because this is public, right?
I think it would work because
people love Steve Austin. It would work. Hey, listen.
It wouldn't matter.
Listen, the Invader came back.
Oh, yeah.
He murdered someone, okay? I mean, wrestling fans are, Mike Tyson's a freaking babyface. I mean, think about it. He raped someone.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
You got a point.
Yeah. I mean, if
there's a number of wrestling fans that are really going to hear this story. I mean, it may go national, but I don't think, so many people are going to hear about it that it would really matter.
Do you think that Jim Ross was alluding to this without saying it, but he knew what was,
Not this, because this was even though it aired on Saturday night, it was filmed on, I think, Thursday.
Right, but I mean, in the past he had hit her, so I mean, he knew about it because he made kind of allusions about personal problems.
I mean, Austin has personal problems besides this.
Yeah,
I'd assume that was what he was talking about because, if Deborah never called the police before,
I don't think Deborah. I don't know. Jim Ross knows a lot, but I don't think that's what Jim Ross was referring to. In fact, I'm sure that's not what Jim Ross was referring to.
I mean, it's pretty disgusting. I mean, but. Someone that's supposed to be like a hero to kids and stuff, but I mean, it happens all the time in sports.
In wrestling.
In wrestling too.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, you're right, and it's sad. I mean, I was so sad last night between Confidential. I mean, because I watched Confidential on the East Coast feed, and I mean, pretty much right when the show was over, or not right when the show was over, because I was on the phone with a couple of people talking about Confidential, and then the first thing I do is go on the internet, and that's the first thing I see is San Antonio, and I'm going oh my God, you know what I mean? It's like this is going to be one of those, this is going to be one of those weekends.
Right. What does the rest of the locker room have to? I mean,
most of them didn't know until they got to the building. A few of them did. I think one of them saw it on the news in L.A. because they're in Anaheim. But just really sad, scared,
right.
Hopeful that the media doesn't paint a brush on all wrestlers like this.
Right.
Not the right time. It's never a good time, but this is the worst time possible or something like this. I think everyone's
wait till someone digs up all that old footage of Austin beating up Lita and everything.
Oh my God.
I hope that doesn't happen because but
I just have a feeling.
Well, I mean,
most of the guys are pretty close to him, right?
He was very well respected. Yeah, he was always a loner, but everyone liked him. I shouldn't say everyone liked him. I know people who didn't. But most of the guys liked him.
Anybody high profile that didn't like him? I mean,
that didn't like him?
Yeah.
I would say Nash.
Really?
Yeah.
There was rumors of a fight.
Nash likes everybody.
Huh?
Yeah.
There's rumors of him and The Rock having a fight years ago. It was in Keller's newsletter.
They may have had an argument at some point. I mean, I know that there was a period of uncertainty and stuff, but I mean, when Rock talks about his best friends in the company, he says Steve Austin and Chris Jericho. So whatever it is, wouldn't have lingered if there even was anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
All right, let's go to Jimmy in Houston. Jimmy, what's going on?
This is Jimmy from Houston.
Yes.
I had a question regarding Bill Goldberg. With all the stuff with Austin going on, are they going to make a bigger push now to bring Goldberg in, or?
I would think so.
Yeah. Have they had any contact with him lately?
They call him constantly. They have not had any meetings.
I'll be there in a minute. I'm off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go to Dennis in Puryear, Tennessee. Dennis, what's going on?
Greetings, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Doing really good.
And congratulations and welcome to the Brotherhood of Fatherdom.
Yeah, I've been there for about 4.5 months, and it's
your first Father's Day. That's a special one.
Oh yeah, it was.
It really was.
Yeah, I know it.
Forget.
Yeah, you're right.
All I can say is, holy cow, what a story for a Father's Day.
Oh, yeah.
One quick question before I get to the thing, Austin. The storyline where they had the match between Vince and Flair, was that thought up real quick to fill the hole, or?
Absolutely. That was done when Vince McMahon panicked and goes, oh, my God, we don't have a main event. Austin's not going to be here. What do we do? I'll put me against Flair for all the marbles. And that put that on free TV. Dennis, hold on, because we have to head to a break right now, and we'll talk more about Austin. So anyway, you're listening, but I just couldn't believe that they did that on free TV. That's a pay-per-view match, and not for this pay-per-view either. It should have been built up for months. But anyway, you're listening to the Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
Time for more Wrestling Observer Live. Email the show now or anytime at WOL@WrestlingObserver.com. That's WOL@WrestlingObserver.com. Now, back to Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez.
Okay, welcome back to the show. I'm Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. If you want more information on this story that we're talking about, you can go to WrestlingObserver.com. There's a story up there on exactly what happened with Steve Austin, the police report, and everything like that. And also, for all of the news, the most detailed news that you're going to find anywhere on pro wrestling, there's the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which I put out every week, and there's detailed that, and also detailed news on wrestling and the funniest stuff that you're ever going to read anywhere on wrestling, Figure 4 Weekly, which Brian puts out, and there's also details on how to get that one as well at WrestlingObserver.com. So we got that out of the way. We're going to go back to Dennis. Dennis, what's happening?
Okay, I'm back with you now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, listen, I had a couple other things I was going to say, but other people got my thunder, so I'll make it quick because I know there's others wanting to talk to you. I would ask everybody to just take a deep breath and remember something. We're all hurting, in a way, because one of our favorite guys in the business has really hit some bad times. But let's remember, this is a man and a woman who's got some serious problems right now. He's got professional problems on top of the personal problems, and we all need to keep him in our some prayers right now. And that's the most important thing to say on it.
Yeah, my hope is, depression doesn't get bad, because, we've seen, I've seen guys, literally kill themselves, by what they've done, so to speak, and actually, kill themselves in this business. This is a very pressure-packed business. Boy, I tell you what, you could see it on Vince last night.
Yeah, you could see it on Vince. You could see
it on Jim Ross.
JR's column on WWE.com is.
Oh boy! Hey,
I get the feel. I really get the feeling there's more to this than any of us will ever know, and that's why.
There's a lot. There's more to this. But we got to remember with Jim Ross. Okay, Jim Ross, Boston have been really close, and and Ross told him come back, and he went on that plane and didn't come back. But there's so much that's got to be going through Jim Ross's mind because when Vince Russo, Ed Ferrara, when they were trying to ruin Jim Ross's career, and get Michael Cole as the host, the permanent host, and put him out to pasture because they thought he was unsightly and behind the times and didn't like his accent or whatever it was, and they had Vince's ear at that time. What saved him was when Steve Austin said, when I want him announcing my match with Rock at WrestleMania, Jim Ross came out, the place went crazy. And Jim Ross was on Raw, about a week after that, and that whole angle where Jim Ross was that babbling fool ended at that moment.
And let's face it, who can imagine Raw right now without old JR at the desk?
And without Steve Austin.
That's going to be taking some getting used to, but hey, such is the nature of the business.
That's true. That and entertainment, it always moves on, and nothing's forever.
That's true, and all we can do now is, like I said, I'd urge everybody keeping their thoughts, and on the outside chance he's listening, Steve, there's a bunch of us out here praying for you, buddy.
Okay, let's go.
One thing about Jim Ross, I don't know when he's going to ever write his book, but he is going to write potentially a hell of a book.
Well,
I shouldn't say for sure because he might still be working in some capacity in the WWE, but if not, that's going to be a book.
He's already got books coming out in 2004.
Well, that's too early.
But I was hoping that he would be out, not because I don't want to. Because I don't want him announcing, but I think that his book would be better if he's, literally, everyone's book is better when they have in their minds have decided they've retired from wrestling. Because even like Missy Hyatt, who is out of wrestling, her book was colored by the fact that she still wanted to be in wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I think Bret Hart's going to have a good book.
Dynamite's book. He knew he was finished.
Oh yeah, he was totally finished, so he had nothing to hold back. That's right.
Nothing to hold back.
Yeah. Let's go to Rick in Chicago. Rick, what's going on?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Speaking of books, real quick, what's the early word on Sean Assholes?
Assail. I actually read that book yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And
in one day?
Yeah, I was in driving school.
What?
Oh God.
What's your early opinion on it?
You know, I'm probably like the worst person on this one because you know what it was. He tried to basically write the history. It's not really a book on Vince McMahon as much as a book on the history of the last 18, 20 years of wrestling.
Okay.
And I mean every major thing. I mean when you're going to do a book and you're going to cover that much subject. I'll just give you an example. He on the XFL, right? He did like one page on the XFL, and it's like, you know, I could write half a book on that alone. The Survivor Series, you probably had like, you know, 2 pages.
And you could write 5 books on that alone.
Well, I will someday. When I finally retire, I will write a book on that thing, on everything on that thing. But anyway,
is this the book that was supposed to come out with the the Wrestling Wars?
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be the Monday Night Wars, and then the Monday Night Wars were over, so it was renamed, you know, Vince McMahon, Sex Lives and Videotapes. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff. If you're a long-term Observer reader, you will probably know most of what's in there. It's another guy's perspective of it. I don't think his perspective was necessarily wrong on too many things. But I mean, when I'm reading it, I'm going like, but he doesn't have this, and he doesn't have this, and he doesn't explain this, and the reason he does, the same reason why, like in tributes, I read tributes and I go, God, what about this and what about this? And I wrote it. It's because they took it all out, you know.
Well, Dave, I hopefully you'll put it up on the, you know, before I don't want to say this like before you die or something like.
Thank you, but
you like
But before you die.
Memoirs. Steel like Churchill did on his.
Yeah, I got it for his
abridged version.
That's what I read tributes and I go, God, what about this and what about this? And I wrote it. It's because they took it all out, you know.
Well, Dave, I hopefully you'll put it up on the, you know, before I don't want to say this like before you die or something like.
Thank you, but
you like.
But before you die.
Memoirs Steel like Churchill did on his.
Yeah, I got it for his
abridged version.
That's what Bret Hart's doing.
Real quick, Dave, two quick questions. First of all, as far as doubles and everything like this, especially now, reading especially what you put on the website and the Observer on Davey Boy Smith, you have to wonder about the type of person that pro wrestling attracts.
Or is it what
pro wrestling does?
Or is it what pro wrestling molds? Because Davey Boy and a lot of these guys, I mean, there are a lot of guys who go into wrestling are already tending to go in that direction.
Right.
But, I mean, I've also known people who started out, you know, being relatively normal, and then they, you know, I mean, how many of them escaped normal? I mean, I think Mick Foley came pretty close.
Right.
But that's the exception, not the rule.
The other question is, what is Viacom now looking at the WWE package now that they bought into? Do they still see it as a good investment? Because, like, for instance, like SmackDown, and especially now, you've lost one of your top stars, basically.
I think that I think that, again, I don't think a lot of people kind of are aware of that at the corporate level, that they've lost him and how important that is, but that's going to show up, you know, in the next couple weeks. But as far as Viacom goes, the SmackDown numbers are still very good for UPN. It's the highest rated show on the network.
Right, especially, I mean, if you compare it to, like, Buffy or X-Files, which they were really pushing last season, you're paying like a product that's like that they pay four times less maybe per show, and you're still getting maybe $1 million. I understand, you know, the high smut factor and the, you know, the advertisers, you know, beware factor as well, but are they still have gone down for the Raw, SmackDown?
Yes, they have.
Heat and, you know, even Tough Enough for some of those shows.
Yeah, I think that the deal. As far as Viacom goes right now, if Viacom got into a financial pinch, I could see them, you know, when this contract is up in 4 years, 3.5 years, perhaps, you know, maybe not giving them another one, which would be really, really devastating for the industry.
Announced they were just signing for 1 more year or something.
No, they signed a 5-year deal.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, they signed a 5-year
announcement that SmackDown would be on next season or something like that, and I thought, why would you?
Oh, that's okay. SmackDown, the Viacom, that's the Raw deal, and for the Excess and all that, you know, or the not Excess, but Heat and Confidential. That's the TNN deal and the MTV deal. The SmackDown deal probably, I mean, as any network show is going to be, it's really year to year. Every network show's like that.
Yeah, anything could be canceled.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, if the ratings on SmackDown go down, and if the ratings on, if the ratings on TNN were to plummet, TNN could cancel it as long as they pay the rest of the contract, and then they would really be screwed because, one, they would still be getting paid money, and then they couldn't go to a competitor because they're getting paid their money, but they wouldn't be on TV, which would be a disaster. I mean, that's a worst-case scenario, and I don't expect it to happen.
Yeah, but look at TNN without Raw. It was like the .45.
0.47. Yeah, that's
no way.
Yeah, that's why it's not going to happen, and their rating will never get as low as the rest of TNN programming. So that's not going to happen. Let's go to Dan in Pittsburgh. Dan.
Hey, Dave and Brian, how you doing?
Doing really good.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but the KMOL website actually has the story up now.
Brian, I think Brian just read it.
Top of the hour.
Yeah, Brian.
And they had the quotes from Confidential last night. Was that the one?
Well, excuse me?
Well, okay, what do you have?
I have that KMOL actually has the story up about Stone Cold on their website.
And do they have comments from Ross and Vince?
Those weird comments that were taken from Confidential.
Yeah, we read that earlier.
Okay, what's up with that? Is this just irresponsible journalism?
I think that's pretty darn irresponsible.
Very irresponsible because they even say on there that these comments were given to this station today.
Yeah, that's so bad.
Right, it's just getting weirder, it seems.
Well, that's weird.
I think that was just them wanting a story because they should have had the story like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And the story's all over everywhere, so, we'll just add some quotes, and we have this show last night, so there you go.
But it's like you're giving quotes to something else. That's like what they did with Mick Foley on that hardcore show, or the Backyard Wrestling show.
Yeah.
Where they play the tameless stuff, and he goes, they're just looking like they're having fun, and then they then when they air it, they have a clip of these guys, smashing each other's head with beer bottles or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think the WWE is going to refute this publicly, or is that?
I don't know.
No, because in journalism, they actually said those quotes, even though it had nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything that they can do about it.
Okay, we've got to head to a break right now. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA.
Hey, this is Bret Hart. It's Wrestling Observer Live with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. Two guys who eat, sleep, and drink pro wrestling, even when it doesn't taste good.
Welcome back to... What do you think Bret Hart's thinking right now?
It tastes really bad.
Oh, I know. It's kind of interesting. We've got a full bank of calls, and 2 hours is absolutely not enough this week. Most weeks is not enough, but...
Let's invade the video game show.
Yeah, really. Anyway, we're going to go to Steve in Concord. Steve, what's going on?
Yeah, how's it going?
Going really good.
Good. Hey, I keep hearing this thing about Inoki wants to book a show at the Olympic Auditorium.
That's not Inoki, it's 01.
Okay.
They're tentatively planned for September. So that's the plan, whether, for a pay-per-view going back to Japan, whether that happens or not. Who knows? I don't know how they're going to fill the building. I don't know how they're going to make it look good for Japan, but that is their idea for sure, as of right now.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, have a good one.
Okay, very welcome. Let's go to Chris in Savannah, Georgia. Chris, what's going on?
Not much, Dave. How you doing?
Doing really good.
Brian, how you doing?
Hey.
I was at Raw on Monday, and, I don't know if this means anything, or I was kind of sitting on the side there, and I'll be darned if Dusty Rhodes wasn't there.
I heard that. Dusty brought his son Cody to introduce Cody to everybody.
Yeah, he was there, and Canyon was there. He said he should be back soon, and I talked to him for a minute. He's a congenial guy. But I wanted to ask you, I have a relative who just got the Dish Network, and I noticed that there's two luchas. There's the Saturday lucha, but then there's like Lucha de Vuelta on Sunday. And what does that?
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up.
What's that?
I don't know.
Are you still there, caller?
I guess he's... Okay, there's something going wrong with the switchboard. So me and you have to talk.
I think his question was about the Saturday lucha and the Sunday lucha. The Saturday is the first run, and Sunday they do a replay. Or not a replay, it's like a best of. Actually, I probably should.
Yeah,
But it's not the same show, guys?
No, it's the Sunday material will have all aired as time goes on. The Sunday material will have all aired previously on Saturday.
Okay.
But it's not the show from the previous Saturday. It's just from previous Saturdays.
Okay.
Like if they took a Raw from a couple of years ago and played it on Tuesday or something.
Okay, because I was wondering, some of those, I'm not really much into lucha, but some of those AAA matches were pretty bad.
They're horrid.
Don't watch AAA. I need to bury a promotion.
Okay, I was just wondering if I'm trying to get into lucha and educate myself here, and I was just wondering if this was a broad, sweeping statement about lucha. Is AAA lucha or?
Oh, hell no.
EMLL better?
EMLL is really good. Usually the Arena Mexico stuff is better than the Arena Coliseo stuff, though.
Okay.
And usually the stuff with the Infiernos, the Guerrero del Infierno, is that how they say it?
Yeah.
Those guys are awesome. They are like, I guess they're the best tag team in wrestling, aren't they?
Oh, for sure. I can't even, nowadays, I can't even think of anybody who would be better.
There's nobody.
Kojima and everybody, but they broke up.
Yeah, that's right. Tenzan and Kojima were the only ones better last year, and they're not even around. And this is a horrible year for tag teams.
Well, it's been horrible for a while.
Yeah, I guess. In hindsight, speaking of tag teams, when I was thinking about the Hall of Fame and everything, I realized that, like, the 80s, there were so many great tag teams, and it's never been like that since.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sad. By the way, we have a couple of lines open, and you can sneak in towards the end of the show at 1-866-OBSERVER. We're going to go to Ron in San Jose. Ron, what's going on?
This is Ron San Jose. I had a question regarding Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Now, are they going to give him some kind of big mega push now?
Absolutely.
I don't think he's really ready for it.
He's not, but they don't have a choice.
They're kind of stuck.
Yeah, they got to give it to somebody, and he's new, and he's not tainted, which is the key.
Yeah, but Angle,
he just doesn't get over well because I think he's selling too much for these guys.
I agree with you, and I think that their feeling is that everybody has to work their style, but that's the problem, is the guys who get over are the guys that don't do the same thing everybody else does. Something happened. Wrestling has always been something where you kind of have a style, but the individuals who break from the style are the ones that get over.
And a perfect example of that is Rob Van Dam, because, I mean, he some people are going to kill me for this, but he's really not very good. He does enough wacky stuff that people don't see that it kind of blinds people to how untalented he is in certain,
But it's funny. It's funny because now that they have got him into their system, people really are starting to notice how not good he is.
Because he's starting to work that WWF style.
Yeah.
What a disaster.
Yeah.
Also, do you get the San Francisco Examiner? I guess there's a column in there by this guy, Lam.
I don't get it, but, I mean, I know of it.
Oh, because I'm just curious about that. I saw it for the first time about a week ago.
Yeah.
It exists.
Hello.
I think he's gone.
Okay. I'm not sure. We're having some problems with our board. But I'm going to go to Scott in Stamford, Connecticut. Scott, our board is down.
Uh-oh.
So, anyway, for everybody, as we're trying to fix the board, White.
Send emails, and if there's anything interesting, we'll read it here.
Okay, we can always do that.
In fact, we have a bunch of questions we could probably, or a bunch of people asking about our thoughts now for King of the Ring, since we pretty much know, I guess, the final 8 guys. Brackets on Thursday, and they're not waiting until just the finals to do the interpromotional. They're doing it for the semifinals as well.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yep, they're mixing and matching, so.
Okay. So I'm figuring the final 4 is, what, Bob Holly, Jericho, Booker T, and Lesnar? Or maybe Van Dam?
Yeah. I don't know. He's got the belt, so I'm still going to find the brackets. If I can find them, I'll let you know. But I think they got to give it to Lesnar.
Yeah, we're going to go to Scott in Stamford. Scott, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not too much.
I actually want to talk about what you guys were just talking about, the King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like an idea of Lesnar taking it and then them just throwing him in the main event, giving him the belt right there?
The same show?
On the same show?
Like a total, those total big, we're running with this guy things. Like you're forced to see it.
I can see Vince losing his mind and doing it, but I think
would it really be losing his mind, or would it really be like him, sucking it all in and actually doing what we've been telling him to do for about 2 years now, is make somebody new?
Well, I mean, it'd be rushing it, but I mean that's something. Watts did the same thing. I mean, I remember when Watts, when things were really bad, he did, and everyone, Russo's done it. That you do the restart. The only thing is that usually, histories of those restarts are not good.
No, restarts, when you say it's a restart, will never work. You can never call everybody into the ring, put them in a suit, and say, okay, we're restarting you guys.
They've done before.
Exactly. What you have to do is it's got to just, it's got to happen. You got to have people saying to themselves, oh, Jesus Christ, everything's starting over. You can't, have the, show, Raw starts over, Nash is in charge now. But I mean, we need I think if they did some with, I think Lesnar's the only guy they can do it with. You have to make nobody's going to buy this guy until he beats a guy like Hunter,
That's you're right. Yeah, and beat some.
I'm holding my breath for that particular match happening.
They cannot mirror the Goldberg thing because that thing went over for a year, and the reason that thing was able to go on for so long is they weren't in trouble. These guys are in trouble. They can't gradually build up Brock over guys like Bubba Ray, and when he's really going over him because he's dancing.
Yeah, but I mean with Goldberg though, I think Goldberg was over more as he was going up than he was when he got there.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And I mean that's the one thing is that I think that you want the people to want him to be there. If on it, you've lost a big part of kind of the game and kind of the, I don't want to say mystique, but of the drawing power.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think after the Hogan match, the only Goldberg thing, besides the Page match, which was just because it was super awesome, I think Goldberg really got stale after that, especially after he lost.
Well, once he lost, they didn't know how to rehabilitate him, and they made it. There was just, and plus he was getting hurt a lot. There was, and
I think the perfect thing to do with the Brock Lesnar thing is, okay, he's not ready, whatever. Was Hunter ready when they gave it to him?
No.
Was Rock ready when they gave it to him?
No. In fact, there was a lot of stuff internally about Rock. Yeah. What?
At least Lesnar doesn't have tits.
But I would actually argue that.
Yeah, you can. But, I think the way they were doing it, do you have any idea how they were going to put Lesnar over Austin?
Yeah, with the outside interference from Guerrero. I don't know about Benoit, but possibly Benoit as well, but for sure Guerrero.
But I think that would have been enough, though, don't you think?
I just think there wasn't time for Austin against Lesnar. I just think that.
There was no build-up. There wasn't even, I don't even know how they were going to go into that. Do you have any idea how they were going to go into that?
I'm sure they were going to do an angle early in the show. But to me, it's just like,
Why on TV?
Yeah, why on TV? Vincent Flair shouldn't have been on TV.
Vincent Flair shouldn't have happened.
No, you're right. It shouldn't have happened. It was a panic decision, but it should.
I don't think it should happen at all. I'm glad that this is the end of the double thing, right?
Well, it's not the end of the double thing.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's not. It may end up being in 3 now. No, that was not done to end it. That was done just because they thought they needed a main event for TV. It's like sacrifice a freaking TV show, so it gets a 3-7 instead of a 4-2.
They kill the whole promotional thing for the King of the Ring. I doubt any.
King of the Ring was supposed to be something special.
I doubt anybody on the face of the earth cares that a guy from SmackDown's facing a guy from Raw.
No one cares anymore.
So, isn't doing the whole thing where Vince was both now kind of killing that anyway?
Absolutely.
But, dead from day one though, when they didn't totally separate them.
And when they didn't have an angle to make it make sense either.
No, nothing.
But it wasn't like he was alive before.
Yeah. Okay, Scott. We got to get running because I want to get to as many calls as possible and run low on time. Okay.
All right, you guys take care.
Okay, we're gonna go to Levy in Memphis. What's going on?
All right, how you guys doing tonight?
We're doing really good.
Oh, that's good. Unlike you guys, I'm pretty much beat on American wrestling, period.
Uh-huh.
It's just going down a hill since WCW and ECW went down last year.
Yeah, but this WWF's the one that really went downhill.
Yeah, it's starting to look like WCW, if you noticed it.
And then when Bill Goldberg comes in, it's going to look even more like WCW, if he comes in.
Yeah, the sad part is, Brock Lesnar is supposed to be the new Bill Goldberg. But the difference is Goldberg looked like a warrior. He looks like a big toe. He has no look at all. He
does look kind of like just a big little kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. He's got that young face because he's 23 years old or 24 years old. You know what he looks like? He looks like Buddy Lee Parker, but just like 10 times the size.
Yeah,
growth hormone.
Well, and a lot taller.
Mm-hmm. And not too many people really knows he's a national champion.
Yeah, they mentioned it on the air many times. He's a fantastic wrestler and a great athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a WWF wrestler now. They never do anything like that in the ring.
A shooting star press before he made it to WWF?
Yeah, I think they want to save his knees. But, I think like on his first big pay-per-view match, he should pull it off because one of them isn't going to kill his knees. It's the night after night pounding that'll do it.
Yeah,
but once he does it once, they're going to want to do a match.
That's true, too.
If a 300-pound guy does that move, that'd be something that, shocking.
People would freak because, my friends, when they saw it, they were just like looking at each other going like, that's not right.
That's WWF.
His shooting star, the other thing about it is it's just not a shooting star. It's a unreal shooting star.
Flying wrestlers. I want to talk about Toryumon.
Okay, hold on. We can talk about Toryumon when we come back because we got to head to a break right now. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
We're back with Wrestling Observer Live. Give us a call anywhere in the U.S. toll-free at 1-866-OBSERVER. That's 1-866-627-3783. Once again, here's Dave Meltzer, Ryan Alvarez.
Okay, we only got a couple of minutes, so everybody just one question each. We're going to go to Levy in Memphis real quick on the Toryumon.
Oh, yeah, two major shows. One was a 12,000-seat arena.
Yeah, in September.
Okay, I mean, do you think they have it in them to sell it out? They're doing good business, but has the...
It'll be tough, but they're giving it their best shot, as far as doing the promotion versus promotion thing. I don't know.
Okay, so they're doing T2P versus Toryumon?
That's what I'm expecting they're going to do on the show. They haven't announced that yet. I think selling it out, I think that's going to be that's pretty ambitious. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great show no matter what. The T2P guys are pretty good rookies.
Yeah, and Toryumon, that's actually one of my favorite companies to watch.
Me too. I mean, right now, that's the only thing really watching is Japanese pride.
Yeah, well, Ring of Honor is really good, which actually reminds me, we got to get to Anthony in Jacksonville. You're going to ask about Ring of Honor?
Hey, guys, what's up?
Not too much.
I just want to say, hey, Brian, I just read your tape review of the Kaiju Big Battle Mayhem.
Oh, yeah.
I went to their website. It looks so awesome. I can't wait till I get the tape. I ordered it today.
It's the future of wrestling.
No, it's not.
Yeah, one thing, I was wondering what you guys thought of the last Ring of Honor tape where Dragon and Low-Ki had the 40-minute match, and what you think of Low-Ki as a worker overall.
Low-Ki's great in his style. Just tremendous. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, the style he works, he's awesome, but as far as, how do you bring that to the big stage where nobody understands it? That's going to be...
Well,
his big to me, his big stage is going to have to be in Japan. Not.
Yeah, I think he'd get over great, something like All Japan, something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I would think American Dragon would be better in All Japan, though, now that I think about it.
American Dragon, I recommended him to All Japan. I think that he would fit in really good with, like, Kaz Hayashi and those guys. More than New Japan.
Yeah, maybe. I would think either one of them. I mean...
Yeah.
I
think the New Japan, he'd have to go to Pride.
Oh, God.
No.
Right.
Hey, Brian, I have one quick question before I go. Is it true that you're Jim Barnett's grandson?
That's a rumor.
That's only a rumor. But anyway, we've got to get out of here on that one. Do you think it's possible for Jim Barnett to have any grandchildren?
That's why it's unconfirmed.
Jim Barnett just got a job with WWE, though. Anyway, we are pretty much out of time. I want to thank everyone for calling in. We're going to be back at 10 to midnight Eastern Time next Sunday. We'll be talking about King of the Ring as it's happening and all of the fallout of Steve Austin and whatever else happens during the week, and we know it'll be a lot. You're listening to the Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.